Hey coaches, Thomas here from MyCoach Ai, and in this quick video today, I want to give you a quick walkthrough on how to add custom data history to any client metrics. So essentially adding new data points to clients tracking customly on your end manually. Because of course in the MyCoach Ai system, we work with our metrics and other tracking capabilities in a way that most of this goes fully automatically, right? Your client completes certain data points, fills out their check-ins, track things within their workouts, log their nutrition, and all of this data gets structured very nicely under each client into their metrics section, right? So this is the place where we can, of course, see all of the graphs, all of the different logging of these data points when they were tracked. And it is a very great structured way in which the system will automatically give you averages, highest and lowest, graphs, and whatever that you need to work with, comparisons, in order to keep track of that data. But most of this is going to be automatically by the client tracking things, but it's definitely possible that you need to add in a custom data point. For example, if you're onboarding new clients that were previously on a different platform, you may have data points from them in the past that were on the other platform that you now want to take over into the MyCoach Ai system, so you still have their full picture of their progress right in here. That's a good example, but there are also maybe other scenarios where you just need to add a certain data point for a client real quick. Maybe they forgot to track something, you want to help them out, whatever it may be. The following is how you do it. We're already in the right spot because of the metrics section is the place where all of this data is housed. And so by extension, it's also the place where we can customly add any data. But keep in mind that for the type of metric, it matters how we do this. And for the most important ones, it is very simple and quick. Think of things that are tracked in numbers, right? Say like weight or steps or whatever else, all of these things that are simply a number tracked over time. It is very easy to add, and you do it as follows. Okay, so you just look up the metric. Of course, I'm going to take the example of weight here. And once we find our metrics, we click on it so we can go to the view, so we can go to view the full history. And this is where beneath the graph and the averages, highest and lowest, you will then see the full history. And so this is the individual data points and when they were tracked. And this is the place where you can also add history. You probably already see it. The big green button in the top right says add history. And all we have to do here is add in when we want this to be tracked. So you can, of course, put in any custom date and make sure that it's tracked on the day that it was actually tracked. For example, if you're transferring over from another system, and then the value that we want to put in there. So of course we need the actual number. And from there, we just simply click add and it will add it in. It is fully tracked and it's taken up into the full history of this client's track data. And of course, even in the graphs and such. So that's really it. Super easy to do with all of the numerical data. And this is the most important one, the ones that you're going to be using most commonly. The last thing that I do want to point out is the fact that with some other metrics, it may work slightly different. Okay, so let's say we have something like a front photo. You may also want to add this in because you are, taking over clients from a different coaching platform. You will notice that when you go to the view history here, that you do not have the ability. Oops, I'm in an exercise here. That was not the intention, right? But we don't have this fact here. But if you were to go to the full history, you will notice that you cannot actually add in history directly by just adding a picture and a date. The best way to do this is actually by just doing it on the schedule directly, which is still quite simple. All you have to do is simply go into their actual schedule and you first go find the date to which those, progress pictures in this case were actually completed. Let's say it was, January the 24th. Cool. What I'll do is on January the 24th, I'm actually going to add a metric to that specific day. I'm going to take my front photo or whatever metric it is and save it. And what I can now do is use the preview interface feature, go into the client account, scroll back until that day. So in this case, January the 24th, and I can just go ahead and complete that metric for the client on their behalf on their schedule. So I take the picture, I put its input there, and it will be tracked and of course still show up in the history fully as intended for that date and not for the current date that you actually submitted, right? Because the metric was scheduled on that day and that's what matters for the tracking. So I quickly wanted to mention that because I don't want you to get confused when you go look at things like pictures and adding those in as well. It's a little bit more of a workaround, but that is the way that you do it. Still pretty easy. But most importantly, keep in mind from this video, in your metrics section, if you go to look up any weight that is tracked in numerical values, you can simply go to view the full history, see it there, and then add history to it, which is as simple as adding in a number and the history timestamp. So that's pretty much it. Now you know how you can take over some metrics if you're onboarding new clients or quickly want to help them out by adding in something into their tracking history. It's quite easy to do, and this is the best way to do it. So I hope that helps. For some more tutorial videos on how to, keep an eye out on this YouTube channel because we post a ton of them and they're really helpful and will help you master this system together. So I'll see you in the next video.